before jiu-jitsu, I used to say the best way to get to know someone is sharing a meal with them. And
Mm-hmm.
now I say the best way is to do jiu-jitsu with them and to eat with them. Those two things,
Mm-hmm.
you really get to know the person you're training with.
Mm-hmm.
You really do. Yeah, there
Here
we
we
go.
go.
Success. Yeah,
Good.
the knee's great, man. When I first tore it, I thought it was the end of the world. And I told my
Uh-huh.
professor, I was like, I just tore my meniscus. What do I do? He's like, Matt, that's the easiest one. He's like, I was lifting mats for a competition 3 days later.
Okay.
And so once I talked to more and more, I think it was like 10 guys at my gym that all had the meniscus surgery.
Uh-huh.
It was really easy. I'm 6 weeks in tomorrow. Today was my first day back doing back squats again. So that was great. Been
Cool.
doing deadlifts for a
Perfect.
week. I came back with some ecological slash CLA
Yes, I saw
jujitsu last
you.
week.
I saw
Dude,
you.
it was great. It was great. Yes, I'm so excited to talk to you about jujitsu. Very, very
Perfect.
excited. Very
Perfect.
excited.
Perfect.
I knew I always wanted to do a martial art. I did some karate as a kid,
Okay.
but it wasn't until I toured in Brazil. And I
Mm-hmm.
loved Brazil so much. I was eating their food, drinking their drinks. And I said to a couple of the Brazilian friends that were traveling around with us, I was like, I want to do what the Brazilians do. What is that? They're like, soccer or jujitsu. I was like, what's the harder one? Like jujitsu. I'm gonna do jujitsu. So that was one of the big things.
Mm-hmm.
Going to the country, I just fell in love and I knew I wanted to do it. And then hearing about the practical application, hearing it's one of the greatest self-defense martial arts. It's one where you
100%.
don't have to be strong or fast. But what's funny
100%.
about the strong or fast point is now you've got black belts who are strong and fast. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
what do you do now? But yes,
yeah.
that's why going to Brazil and loving it. Food and the dish it was feijoada. That was the dish that made me want to get into Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Feijoada and caipirinha. Caipirinha is that super alcoholic
Yeah,
sugar
yeah, yeah,
cane.
yeah,
I can't drink those anymore.
yeah.
But feijoada, that's the dish that made me fall in love with jiu-jitsu. So yeah. When it's legs, obviously guard player. But
Card player.
lately I've been feeling like top. Sure, it's all work, but I've been feeling like top is a little less work.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
if you can get that good pressure and you cook your opponent, it feels good.
Okay.
But if they're trying to cook you while you're trying to elevate them, it's a lot of work.
Okay. I love to play guard, but I want to end on the top. So I will use always
Yeah,
try to use always the leg lock attempts. If I cannot finish, get in the top and then crush.
that's
If I
awesome.
can
Yeah,
smash and get my points, my score, and be lazy. So
that's awesome. I like that. Yeah, I've been kind of doing roughly the same thing. It's like, but little opposite. Like, 'cause everyone knows Matt's gonna grab my foot, so just do traditional, get to top, and
mm,
if I mess up and they recover, then legs.
my wrestling is really bad also. So like yeah,
Oh,
I
mine's
will
fine.
pull always.
Oh, leg locks
Leg locks all
all day
day.
long. But it is cool that there is now an arm lock that leg lockers like the Choi bar, and I think I
Mm-hmm.
respect that one because it's like
Yes.
same setup.
Eh,
Favorite conceptually in my head is inside Senpaku, inside heel hook, but the one I get the most is the ones I've gotten the most in my life is straight ankle lock,
Okay.
and probably the second most I've gotten is a toe hold. That's awesome. Do you do yours shotgun grip or
No,
traditional grip?
I use a traditional one, traditional
Wow.
normal
Okay.
grip. I don't go for shotgun. I try to keep always my arm with with using always this side of the arm
The
with to be
knife
able
bone.
to knife one. I go for it. This is for me like the favorite one. I don't know. I
That's
try the
awesome.
shotgun sometimes. I have problems to finish it. Maybe I need to I don't know learn better
Oh
on the
man,
technique. But
I think that if the traditional works the best, do you do it where you've got the knife bone into the Achilles?
yes,
Awesome. Me too.
always this part here
Yeah.
and the keyless.
Oh yeah.
My four
Hell
fingers
yeah.
grip here, elbows close, and let's go.
From top, I like to take mount, gift wrap the back.
Good.
That's usually my
Okay.
go-to. Like I feel
Okay.
like I would rather try to get always gift wrap to the
On
back.
top to back. Okay.
But I thought you were going to say favorite position for attacks. I know I should say something with a reap, but honestly,
Hmm.
I love 50-50.
Okay.
I
Okay.
love
Okay.
50-50 because it feels like psychologically they're like I've got a chance too. And then I like to
Hmm.
play that dance of back and forth. I
Okay.
love 50-50. Side control. I would rather
Side
have
control.
someone mounted. I'd rather have
Okay.
someone mount or back than side. There's
Okay.
something about my side that's not great. Um, I think it's a psychological thing from I hurt my lower back in my 20s weightlifting,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I'm always afraid to do a giant bridge. And I
Okay.
should get over the fear because I've been doing strength and conditioning and yoga and all that stuff,
Hmm.
but side. Side
Okay.
is my worst for some reason. The one I was trying to incorporate more and more before my knee injury, and I'm not saying it was because the knee injury was
Mm-hmm.
from an
Mm-hmm.
improvised calf slicer that my friend put on me,
Mm-hmm.
was the false reap.
False
But
rib.
the false reap, I had a difficult time ever fully executing it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like 50-50 is better leg entries for me, but that was the last one I was really trying to incorporate in the false reap.
False rib.
Finger, the knee, that was the only surgical one.
Mm-hmm.
My first time ever doing a double leg takedown ever, just on the mat, I fucked my toe up and it's still messed up to this day. It's a
Oh.
bad bunion. So I feel that's something that was from the first double leg drill of my life. This knee had a couple like, toe hold pops, a
Okay.
couple Estima lock pops. I feel
Okay.
Estima lock is the fastest one and the
Yeah.
most kind of the most dangerous. I feel like calf
Mm,
slices are more dangerous than heel hooks. One of my longest time best friend training partners, he cracked my wrist when we were white
okay.
belts. I
Yeah,
had him
wrist
in
lock,
my
yeah.
guard. I had
Okay.
him in my guard and he just laid his stomach on it.
Ah.
So nothing
Mm,
terrible. The
yeah.
worst one is the knee and this finger, which is
And
unfixable
and
apparently.
one question with the slicer, was you doing the slicer or you getting a
It
slicer?
was actually my
Because
it was actually my friend because I've heard that the guy doing it can blow their knee too.
okay. Yeah, that's it,
Um,
because at the moment at the gym we had two guys already blowing the knees by doing the calf slicer.
yes, dude, I feel like the calf slicer is like just not worth it
Yeah,
because
but
I've seen it a lot. I was taking his back and somehow he ended up in like sort of a backwards 50-50 and he grabbed my ankle and pulled.
okay.
So he like kind of
Okay.
improvised it and it just before I even had a chance to think, it popped.
Was already, yeah, it's fast.
But
Yeah.
it was chronic before and again, main training one of my main training partners, so
Yeah.
it
So
wasn't
happen
intentional.
accident, yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather get hurt
Mm.
from a friend than get hurt from someone I don't know.
Do you think injuries can actually help us to progress? Yes, no? You
Absolutely.
think, right?
Absolutely. Just like the Trivium song that's about to come out.
Uh-huh.
Pain is easier to remember. So,
Yes, I really feel the
yeah.
same. Every time I come from my injury, makes my game much better.
Yeah.
When it's knees,
Absolutely.
when I have knees injuries, my half guard gets much better.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's what I love about jiu-jitsu because it's like we don't work through our injuries, we work around our injuries. When we hurt
Mm,
something, we avoid it and get the other stuff strong. So much so. I mean, mental health is something I talk about a lot. Like I've been very public about
mm,
last year having that mental breakdown and needing psychiatry and cognitive behavioral therapy and all this stuff. But jujitsu has always been therapy as well for me, and it requires a lot for me to feel it at
mm,
baseline, kind of where I feel like maybe the average everyone's got demons, everyone's got stuff going on, but you know
mm,
the people in life who just aren't really bothered by much. It takes a lot. And I feel like a lot of us in jujitsu, we use this as not only therapy for our bodies, we're also hurting our bodies, but that's fine. That's the side effect. But
mm,
it's so much so therapeutic for our minds. Like a lot of us, I feel like it's keeping a lot of people in a good headspace just for life. It's probably keeping some people out of some really dark stuff. It's
mm,
probably keeping some people off the streets, I would hope. It's probably
mm.
guiding people towards positivity. Um, it's a huge part of my life. It's made me better at singing, screaming, guitar playing. It's made me better at Trivium. Now being able to be one of the assistant teachers for my kids, I've been able to like be one of the professors on the mats for the kids
Mm.
classes. It's been huge. My wife started. We got the whole family into it. It's amazing. It's a life changer.
There is so many people, outside who is not able to, or is scared, or maybe ashamed to talk about this, and I think it's good, like, to let them know it's okay, that
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think
ev
that's definitely a thing that we'll see in metal and jiu-jitsu. A lot of times people are afraid to talk about, afraid to admit,
mm,
afraid to admit a mental weakness, where we'll all day long admit a physical weakness. Like, hey, my guard passing could be better, but it's like, hey, I could also be better up here too.
true, man.
What's amazing is last tour that we did in the States where I was teaching Jamie and I was teaching Jake from August Burns Red. I was doing a 75 to 90-minute show a night. I was doing some strength and conditioning training like 3 times a week. I was
Hmm.
doing jujitsu every single show day
Hmm.
and some yoga as well. I started working with an amazing strength and conditioning coach named Harry, and Jana is a nutritionist. So he's like, hey, if we do a strength and conditioning, I've got a nutritionist as well. I've always eaten whatever I wanted to eat in my life, but as I kind of get older, I wanted to take even more care of myself. And I've noticed that the nutrition end of it has been huge. So I wasn't burning out. I was doing an hour plus of jujitsu a day, the 90-minute show and weightlifting, and still had energy for the shows and still felt
Oh.
great, slept great. I think it's 'cause I was eating right. I wasn't obviously going 100% on my rolls,
Mm,
and I was teaching a blue belt and a white belt, so I
mm,
wasn't going super hard with them, but we are training efficiently. So I think
yeah.
it's very important to like manage. I know the show's the most important thing,
Mm,
save and conserve here.
mm,
When I'm off tour, I think before the knee surgery, I was overdoing it. Like I was, every roll was the hardest roll in the world. Every single roll
yes.
was like, let's competition style. But I think that now, because I was talking to Goth Lord, he's another amazing jiu-jitsu guy. He invented the Goth Lock.
Mm,
And I was
mm,
like, hey, how many times do you train a week? He's like, I train 9 to 10 times a week. I'm like, holy shit. Like
yeah.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
But he told me like, he's got 3 hard roll days a week, and then he like really plans out the other stuff. So I
Mm,
think with the planning is gonna be great because before I didn't have planning. I would just be like, hey, I'm gonna go to the weight room, lift as heavy as I can, roll as hard as I can. And now that I see it's strategic and it's meant to be strategic, and I'd love to hear your input as well. What you'd recommend for someone like me, like how many days a week should I be super hard rolling? How many days a week should I
look,
be eco? Like,
I was a little bit like you mistaken. I was overtraining. I started to
mm,
train like to change that like 2 months ago because I got
mm,
like a lot of friends, plus I have a lot of arthrosis, my wrist, knees.
yep,
So I was in pain all day, no energy, like I was really not having fun so much anymore because was every role was like a torture for me, for my
yeah, yeah,
body. So
yeah.
I had to change everything, like the same with the roles. Now I try to um, count the rounds. I do get 2 times per week just rest. I don't do anything. Also, it's 42 years old, so it's like I cannot. My mind is still is like when I was 18. So I want to do the same amount, but it's not possible. The body is like you have to say gets old. So it's like
Yeah, yeah.
you need to set and then just reduce the intensity, the amount of trainings because in that I think right now it's not so important anymore the quantity if not the quality when you
Absolutely.
do it. So that now I'm trying to work with it because it's hard. It's a little bit to say to your ego like, hey, you are not 18 anymore. You're
Yeah,
fighting with guys of 20, so you cannot stay on the same level of. But yeah,
man, that's amazing
the
advice.
why
Yeah,
I'm doing, like yeah, diet for sure. I need to hold my diet all the time. I try to eat healthy. I try to track what I am eating here there.
yep.
Yeah, but yeah.
I've been doing the track a lot too because like when I first started, I was like, I can't do this, but now I really
Mm,
like it to see
mm,
where I should be at. Yeah, it's really great. I feel like just in these 12 and a half years I've been into jujitsu to see how everything has evolved and to see now to hear yourself and to hear different athletes talking about, hey, the nutrition and having rest days and, hard days, lighter days. It's
mm,
really cool to see everybody doing that versus this mindset of let's just go hard as hell 7 days a week. Like
mm,
that's just not sustainable.
mm,
Even the steroid guys, I don't think can handle that. So it's very cool to see this inevitably that's almost like a self-care thing coming into
true,
jujitsu, which
true.
plays up on the mental thing that you and I were talking about. It's
Mm,
now there's this like positive mental thing in addition to that going around, like taking care
mm,
of ourselves while we're doing something like this, which is great. Damn, amazing. No gi versus gi. I feel like
mm,
gi versus a guy who's a black belt in gi, you're going to have a much harder time
mm,
than a black belt in no gi because something might happen. It might be a
100%.
little extra slippery. You might be able to find a scramble. And that's kind of why, I when I first started, I was afraid of no gi because I didn't understand it. Then I got leg
Mm,
locks, preferred
yeah.
no gi. Yeah, preferred no gi mainly. But now I'm starting to see that it's very important to have both. So I
Mm,
majority do no
true,
gi and I do a little bit of gi as well
true.
because I could tell it's important. But my
Mm,
only gripe with gi is that it did
the
this to my
fingers.
finger. Ah, that's the only problem I've got with gi.
Yeah,
Because I can't do more of that. I
yeah.
cannot have that happen
You
again.
have to do more Marcelo Garcia style. You see, he does grip, but he
Yeah,
played like a nogi player. He's not using
exactly.
so many grips around. But like
Exactly.
I think in one interview you was playing, you play a lot of spider guards. So I did also a lot of spider. Till with nogi, I played a lot. I play a lot of spider guard to get
Mm.
into sweeps and leg locks here there. But spider guy is like killing your fingers at all.
Yes. Oh my
It's
gosh. It destroyed my hands. My
it's
hands are so shot from
horrible.
Spider. And I loved it. Yeah, Spider and Spider Lasso. Those were the games that my professor taught me
Yeah.
because he's
Mm,
incredible at Spider Lasso, and his fingers look perfect.
mm,
I don't know
yeah,
how. And this man's been a competitor his whole life. He trains hard.
crazy.
One of the best jiu-jitsu guys I've ever seen. His fingers are
Mm,
perfect.
oh man.
I don't know how. He's
Not.
superhuman. Like when I first started jiu-jitsu, I wanted to quit for the first year and a half, 2 years. I was
Mhm.
just getting destroyed. And I'm not being humble, my first 3 to 5 years was terrible, absolutely terrible. And it was all wrong too. Like I should have competed at white belt, but instead I waited to get my blue belt. I got my
Yeah,
blue belt and went and go competed at blue belt, went
yeah,
against a 4 year blue belt competition stud, got destroyed.
yeah.
And it wasn't until I started hearing about the Death Squad, because I was like, oh, that's a cool name. And then I started watching. First was Gary Tonin, then I saw Gordon Ryan, then I saw Eddie Cummings. I was like, that looks like something I can maybe do. This
Yeah.
looks a little bit more like a game that, because like
Mm,
I wasn't fast and explosive like Tonin, and I wasn't strong and big like Gordon. This was before
mm,
Gordon was like
mm,
giant big.
mm,
But man, Eddie Cummings, yeah. So it's so cool that nowadays, like you said, it's even progressed since then, since I got into the Death Squad.
mm.
Like now, if I want to learn, like, man, I love how Lachlan Giles is 50-50. Oh,
Uh-huh,
I can go to his Instagram right now and
uh-huh,
learn it
uh-huh,
directly
uh-huh,
from him. And I think that's
uh-huh.
such a cool thing. I remember when I first started getting the leg locks, I'd meet a lot of these traditionalists like, leg locks are bullshit and they're cheap. I was like,
Yeah,
well, you should know how to defend it then.
palpable. I started to get into leg locks. I was a geek guy.
Yeah,
So we were not
really.
doing any leg lock at all. I was late after Pavel, Eddie Cummings here, there, and then I started to get into, and then like, oh man, this is interesting. And then Tim Lister, no, white ignore
Yeah.
50% of your body, blah 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 blah,
Yep.
and then I got into
My
it.
3 to 5 years in, I just had no game. I was just getting destroyed, never got
Mhm,
subs, never got anything. And then I started the legs. And then that was my opportunity to, okay, I can't pass this guy's guard, but I can make him think I'm going to go for his leg. Then I can pass the guard, or I just take his leg.
Yeah, yeah,
And then the
yes,
game just spiked from there.
perfect.
And then it
Yes.
kept growing. Great question. I've been hearing stories about how there are white belts to start at Eco,
Mm,
and I've heard stories about how some white belts beat black belts in competition, stuff like that we hear. So I am curious because I've only done a couple days now, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. And I
mhm.
had so much fun. Like I feel like since I got my black belt 2.5 years ago, or 2 3/4 of a year ago, I felt like I've been stuck in
Okay.
the same patterns, the same
Mm-hmm.
skill. I don't feel like I've had these big jumps.
Mm-hmm.
And I started training with a couple guys who've been training like the new school leg game.
Yeah.
And I've got the old school leg game, like Eddie Cummings, John Danaher, original Death Squad. Like that's the style that I was good at. And then I had these guys doing like false reaps and all these like the K guard game, and it was destroying me. So then I started
Mm-hmm.
learning it more and more to catch up. But I think the way I learn, I think the CLA and eco stuff is very helpful for my brain
Mm-hmm.
because I've mentioned it before with singing, for example. I
Uh-huh.
didn't start singing and screaming as good as I have done until right now. 26 years it took me to get like where I'm at today. And you got to see the show. I feel like
Uh-huh.
I'm doing it better than I've ever done it, but it's only been till this year. So I'm a slow learner. Like I have to fail a lot. And I know that's the process of jujitsu.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like with the eco games, if you've got a 5 to 10 minute game with one task, I have to turn and face my opponent. It's
Mm-hmm.
that simple.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself leveling up pretty quick in it. Right before I hurt my knee, I said, I need to rethink my jujitsu because I
Mm-hmm.
just kept going the same place. Everyone's like, all right, Matt's going to try to leg lock me.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I changed it. I was like, okay, I'm not going to leg lock
Yeah.
unless I do
Yeah.
something, unless I mess up. But I found myself just getting destroyed by these competition dudes, these
Uh-huh.
younger, stronger, faster, bigger guys. And I kept going with them, and just kept losing. So like, I need to think of something else. But I guess that's good. That's why jiu-jitsu is good. It humbles us. Like you're
Yes,
supposed to
yes,
get
yes,
smashed.
yes, 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 yes.
So I'm gonna just do a lot of these CLA games
Uh-huh.
and do live rolling at the end of it and see where I get. See if I do
Mm-hmm.
find progression. It's almost like the way I learn. Same with guitar, for example.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause guitar didn't really learn it traditionally. I didn't want to learn other bands' songs with guitar. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
make my own songs.
That's good.
I wanted to look at what I was weak at. I was like, okay, my
Mm-hmm.
pinky is weak. Let's make pinky exercises for
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something strange of how I just never wanted to learn other people's thing. Of course, I learned Master Puppets, but it wasn't that many things. That's when people ask me, "Hey, Matt, can you play some covers?" I really don't know very many covers because I've really occupied the space in my brain with the stuff I try to figure out. So I'm trying to see how that relates to jujitsu because there have
Mm-hmm.
been so many techniques that I have drilled countlessly. Some I've retained and some have kind of disappeared. And if I don't keep up with
Mm-hmm.
it, it goes away. And I feel like maybe doing it, some of these techniques, some of these concepts, eco or CLA, it might become a muscle memory versus a
Mm-hmm.
brain
Mm-hmm.
memory. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's the kind of memory I need.
Mm-hmm.
We actually, so we've got that EP coming out, and the song is called Struck Dead, but in parentheses called Pain is Easier to Remember. And that's a line that actually Paulo said to me because I had my mental breakdown, midlife crisis last year. And
Mm-hmm.
we wrote these three songs kind of during it. And my wife said to me a couple times in my life, like anytime I've really fallen low, she's like, Matthew, your rock bottom has to be like if a normal person's rock bottom is here, mine needs to be here. I
Mm-hmm.
need to fall so
Mm-hmm.
hard and so
Mm-hmm.
deep and so badly for me to learn my lesson. So it's like not, I can't just get subbed. I have to break my knee. Something
Mm-hmm.
terrible has to
Mm-hmm.
freaking click. And so that's what that song is about. Pain is easier to remember. I'm not saying that I want to feel the pain in the CLA, but I feel like it's like I have to have this thing drilled in so inherently in me. I have to just focus on this one thing. Like, hey, today it's just chest to back games nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how I imprint to my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really a knock on traditional jujitsu learning. It's more me understanding how my brain learns differently than
Yeah.
others and how
Yes.
can I apply that to my life. My rolling time, I'll spend 75% of them, I'll do CLA games and then do a little bit of rolling as well. Because before the last tour, when we're on tour, when you're hanging out with your buddies, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
we should drill. Nah, let's just roll. And you just end up rolling the whole
Yes,
time, which
yeah,
is
yeah, I
which is
understand.
awesome. But I feel like with me, it'll keep me in the same patterns.
Yes,
And I want to
yeah.
see what these new patterns, these new
Mhm.
pathways I can make
Yeah,
are.
that's interesting. Doing the same, it can be really exhaustive. So the games and give me sometimes this, well, sometimes I feel like the guys put me in bad situations, no? Or I work
Yeah.
in places like the position sparrings where you don't want to be. Oh, now you're gonna start from the back take, or now you're gonna start with a headlock, so this make you bring back sometimes this flame, yeah. Because like I said,
Yeah.
if I roll normally, I go to my positions, I get my always control, like I play my game, but if I go into
Yep.
the games here, there, I need to be, all time improvising,
Yeah. And
So
it's great too, because like one of my main training partners, I love training with him, but he always beats me. There's just no
mm,
question. I can't beat him. I can't get a good position on him. But for doing these games, it's a little more equal.